Hello everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this gliding system in Unreal Engine 5. But before we start, please like this video and subscribe my channel for more Unreal Engine tutorials. Thank you. For this tutorial I'm going to use this hanging idle animation asset and also this glider mesh. First I'm going to create a new blueprint class in type of actor and I name it glider underscore BP. Now I open it up and here in component section I hit this add icon and search for a skeletal mesh, and I add a new skeletal mesh to my blueprint. But if the asset that you are using is in type of a static mesh, you should create a static mesh. But in this case I'm using a skeletal mesh as my glider mesh model. Alright, now here in this section I add my glider model. Now I compile and close this blueprint. Now I'm going to create a socket for my character mesh. So here I open up my character mesh, this one, and here in this section I search for my hand right bone, this bone exactly, and here I search for my hanging idle animation, which I'm going to use in this tutorial. So here I right click on this skeleton and here I click on add socket, and here I name this socket, for example, glider. Alright, now here I right click and here I click on add preview asset, and here I select my glider mesh. Alright, now I try to rotate and position it in the proper way, just like this. I place it exactly on my character's hand. Okay. Alright, I think now it is okay. Now I save and I close my character mesh asset. Now here I go back to my character blueprint, which in this case it is BP underscore third person character. Now I open project settings from edit tab. Here I open project settings and from input section I create a new action mapping input and I name it glide, and for key binding I select E button. Alright, now I go back to my character blueprint event graph and here I right click and search for my glide input, just like this. Now I create a new variable in type of boolean and I name it is gliding. Now from here I drag a node and add a branch node and connect this boolean variable to the condition of this branch node. And from false part, here again I drag a node, I add another branch node, and here I get my character movement component. Here I drag a node and search for is falling. this pure function and connect the return value of this function to the condition of this branch node. Alright, and now here I get setter of this boolean from true part of my second branch node. Here I set this to true, and now I drag another node and search for spawn actor from class, and here I search for my glider blueprint. Now I need a transform for this actor to be spawned, and I'm going to use my socket transform. So here I get my mesh component, and here I drag a node and search for get socket transform. Now I should insert exact name of my socket. Here I want to double check it, so I open my character mesh. Alright, name is glider. Here I insert my socket name and connect the return value to this spawn transfer input. Now I promote this output, this return value, to a variable, and I name it glider ref, which is a reference to my glider blueprint. And now here I drag a node and search for attach actor to component. Alright, now here I connect this one to target, and for parent I connect my mesh component, and I set location rule, rotation rule, and scale rule to keep word. Now from here, first I get my mesh component and drag a node from here and search for play animation. And in this section I select my hanging idle animation, but make sure to set is looping to true. This loop should be true inside your animation asset. Alright, now I get my character movement component, and here I drag a node and search for set velocity. Now I right click here and click on split extract pin and connect this execution pin to here, and again from my character movement component I drag a node and search for get velocity. Again I right click and click on split extract pin. Now I connect X to X and Y to Y, and I'm not gonna touch Z velocity. Alright, again here I get my character movement component, and now I drag a node and search for gravity scale. Set gravity scale, and here I set it to 0.06, and again I drag a node from my character movement component and search for set air control. Set air control, and I set it to 0.7. Now I go back to my first branch, and from true part again I drag a node and add another branch node, and again I connect return value of this is following pure function to the condition of this branch node. And from true part, first I get setter of this boolean variable is gliding boolean, and I set it to false. And now I get my glider blueprint reference, and now I drag a node from here and search for is valid this macro node. I connect this one to here, and for is valid execution pin I drag a node and search for destroy actor node, and I connect my glider reference to this input of this node. And now I get my mesh component. I drag a node and search for set animation mode, and I set it to use animation blueprint. Now I simply get a copy of all of these nodes with Ctrl C, and I paste them here with Ctrl and V and connect them here. And now I connect this Z velocity to here, and now I set gravity scale to its default value, which is 1.75. In this case I'm using Unreal Engine 5.4, but if you are using another version, make sure to insert the default value of this parameter. You can easily select your character movement component and search for gravity scale, and here you can see the default value, which in this case it is 1.75. Now I bring it back to its default value. And also for air controller, again I search for this variable here. In this case it is 0.35, and I insert it here, 0.35. Okay, and now I go back here, and for this node actor, attach actor to component, I should insert my socket name, and I simply copy my socket name from here and paste it here. Okay, now I'm going to create a functionality to make this gliding disabled when my character lands on the ground. So here I right click and search for event on landed. This event exactly, and here I drag a node and add a branch node, and I connect is gliding boolean to the condition, and from true part of this branch node, first I get a setter of this boolean, connect it here and set it to false, and from here I drag a node and add an is valid macro, this one with question mark, and for input object I connect my glider reference variable, and from is valid execution I drag a node and add a destroy actor node, and again I connect my glider reference variable to here. And now I get my mesh component and drag a node and search for set animation mode, and I set it to use animation blueprint. I connect it here, and now I again simply get a copy of all of these nodes, copy and paste them here. I connect them to here, and as you can see here, velocity x, y and z should be connected to x, y and z, and gravity scale should be set to 1.75, and air control should be set to 0.35. and when my character lands on the ground, this gliding will be disabled. Alright, now I compile and close this blueprint. Now I run the game. As you can see, I've created this platform in my level. Now I jump, and if I press E button, this glider will be spawned and my character starts gliding, and if I press E in the air again, it will be disabled, and I can enable and disable it in the air just like this. And if I land on the ground, this will be automatically disabled. Alright, if this tutorial was useful for you, please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.